Another thing that I did want to run through is like turning kind of like slightly mundane sounds into something more interesting. Let's say you've got a sample and you want to generate this sort of textural component. So let's say, I mean, I must have some acapellas around here somewhere. So let's say we've got like an acapella or something. Sorry, we're going through this kind of like melodic, slightly cheesy thing today. It's just kind of what happened. So let me see what I've got on here. Just turn this down. I do also like, with some of my ambient work actually, I do quite like to use like bedroom covers and stuff. So you get some of this noise is already in there when you're starting to process it. So like YouTube rips and things like that. I find you can get some interesting noises out of. I'll just play you something very quickly, which is a very good example of that. So, so this is like a track that I've made, partly creating a drone and then recording it around the room, just walking around, like, so the sound moves around a lot. But I've done the same thing with like a garage break. So I've used YouTube and then I just walked around the studio, out of the room, into like a kitchen and like recorded it and then loaded it back in. The same with the vocals. And then underneath, the biome is generating a kind of randomly generated patch with this interview with some guy talking about graffiti or something. I don't know what he's on about, but. So yeah, you get the idea, like everything is recorded in this kind of way. So if I was gonna like add a bit more intrigue to maybe even like a chord or something, like something that's quite sort of straightforward, like doing a similar technique to what we just did. So let me just find like a kind of housey chord or something like that. Let's have a look. Whoops. I'm just going to retune this. I mean, this is a pretty nice sound as it is, but let's just say I'm going to use this. It's a much better idea to use something like a zoom really for what I'm about to do, but you can still kind of get some interesting sounds even just using your phone as well. Like it still works just as well. So I'm going to leave a little tail so we've got some space to make some sounds. So let's just play. I could also play around, let's say. Okay. So my voice is going to be in that, but oh well. And let's go on to the recording. Just make sure my airdrop is actually on. So we've got this sound. Let's just get rid of the other stuff. Let's have a listen. Maybe what I do here is just like remove some of those harsher frequencies. So let's just take those out.
I could also play around, let's see.
Okay. So I'm going to just load this again into the sampler. So like, this is again like something I would suggest from a starting point. So if you've got your sound, you've got like a chord, a loop, whatever, something from Splice you want some more interest to. Recording it, even if you don't want to add texture, sometimes just recording on a Zoom, moving around the room can just add, it just adds something to it. And obviously you can use it with different mics. It doesn't have to be so lo-fi sounding, but I think adding your own spin on it can be quite a good way to go about it. So let me just load this up. Playing some quite a low pitch right now. So quite unusual.
I could also play around, let's see.
So even, yeah, just like playing a few notes on that from that sample can be kind of like the underlayer that you use in this. And we could try and chop it up, use it a bit more practically as well. So let's say we want to use it in this project. Maybe I'm going to like just load this up again. I always prefer to load things into a sampler just because like I feel like I have a little bit more control over it than just placing it. And you get kind of more of these sort of happy accidents, you know. So let's load up. Let's let the drums play. But I should have put in a little. Okay, so we got that little rhythm. It can even just sort of be like a weird kind of sub layer. We could sort of sidechain this to the kick a little bit. Let's get that kick just labeled. And with this kind of sound, I quite like to sort of like, if it's a low frequency thing, I like to boost the highs a little bit if I'm looking for texture. And this thing, I pretty much only use it just to draw out the highs. It's another one of these plugin alliance things. It's just a really, really lovely EQ. So yeah, maybe we can just layer this in and start like adding a few more things for the end. So I've been going on for quite a while. But let's just fuck it, let's just use that. Make sure that's on. I'm just going to bring in, I'm going to try out a few of the other techniques that we've looked at today, just to kind of like, so we don't lose the use of this sample. I'm going to like just layer it up. We're going to use some of the filtering techniques, and maybe we can use a side chain from, let's say, like the tom or something like that. See if that works. So it's just, that's quite nice. Okay, let's put another one of these there. But just to go back to my point about like why I was using texture in the first place, it is to kind of like, we can always use it as a negative space. And I think once you've like explored a lot of the sort of stereo field in the track, it can then just, it allows the other elements that are a bit more static to sit quite well. So if we kind of like take out the drums, maybe even just these, quite sort of dry sound. So it can kind of help you just get a little bit of placement, basically.